Hello YouTube, this is Charlie426, and today we have something very interesting to review. Now, first of all, I would like to apologize for a few things. Number one is the background. When I'm reviewing this, especially when I'm going to be reviewing the mech of this, I will not be able to review it on my usual setup because the Invictor tactical Warsuit is way bigger or taller than my usual shelf place where I film my stuff. So when I'm reviewing the Warsuit thing, I'm going to be reviewing right over here, which is a different setup. So this review is going to be a two-part review. Part one, I will be looking at the Space Marine figure itself that is inside here, because I feel like it's also worth reviewing itself, because keep in mind, Joytoy also does release the separate Space Marine figures at the same time. So I'm pretty sure a lot of people out there are kind of curious how the figures are. And on part two, I will be looking at the tactical Warsuit itself. So another thing I would like to apologize is the fact that my voice may sound a little bit different. After my business trip from Germany, yes, I did go to Germany, the toy fair in 2020, to the toy fair in Germany, the one you are thinking about. After coming back to Korea, I assume all the stress, all the nervousness, all the fatigue that was all piled up suddenly hit me all at once when I got back to Korea. So I kind of got sick in the middle process. I'm recovering much better, although on the process I kind of did lose my voice a bit. So I am still recovering, so my voice may sound a little bit different. Alright, so another detail I would like to mention is that thank you for Joytoy, which I met at the toy fair at Germany. They offered me a very good price in return of making them a review of this product. So I am very honored and very happy to review anything from the hobby section as well. So and I'm very interested as well, because I have known Joytoy. I have seen their products online multiple times, and I was always curious on how they were at the same time. So now, for those who don't know, Joytoy usually makes their own original design mechs. Usually a full-fledged mech that also has a pilot that you can actually put in. But recently, I think 1 or 2 years ago, they were able to finally get official license, the IP license from Games Workshop for Warhammer. And which is why ever since they have been making these mechs, motorcycles, Space Marines, and other, I believe they're working on the Orcs and Necrons as well, to make them in fully articulated products. So I'm very happy for them, and I'm really excited to try this out. Alright, so I'll be right back, and as I mentioned before, on part one we will be looking at the Space Marine itself. So give me a few moments and I'll see you there. Okay, I'm back. So here we have the Space Marine figure. Now keep in mind, now the whole Warhammer thing, I am still a beginner. I'm still learning stuff. Because I have a few friends who are very into the Warhammer series as well. Some of them actually play the game. Some of them just paint and collect the small figures from Games Workshop. So keep in mind, I am not as knowledgeable when it comes to Warhammer compared to when I'm knowledgeable to like other series like Gunpowder from the Gundam series or the Kamen Rider series. So I do please advise that I may use some wrong terms. Alright, so let's see what we got. So for the figure itself, actually before that, I would also like to mention this one I got was a display sample, which is why they did offer me a pretty good price. So some parts or some areas may seem a little bit loose or maybe scratched or something like that, but so yeah, that's another thing I would like to mention. So if I assume if you buy a brand new one, there shouldn't be any like loose parts or anything else. So as usual, let's go over the components. So first of all, what you get, of course, is obviously the Space Marine figure. Hand-wise, currently, I think I am using both the trigger finger hands for left and right. Although this side of the finger is slightly in a more awkward position, so I'm not sure if that is a trigger finger. Other hand-wise, we do get 2 more sets, as far as I understood that, or let's just say 4 more hands. So for the right hand, we do get another. I think this would be considered a more of a multi-purpose hand as well, or based on my tests, this is mostly used for the handle that's inside the tactical Warsuit. So they're kind of like a joystick that you need to like hold. So this is the one that you use, and this one, now this is what I would consider more to be a multi-purpose hand as well. And for the left hand, we do get a slightly open hand. Yeah, this is the one I think this is the one I actually used for holding the second handle that's in the Warsuit. And yeah, this one looks more like the multi-purpose hand as well. So yeah. And inside the box does come with a card. Now I do like the art style in the front, but yeah, the back section is in Chinese, so yeah, anybody who can like translate this would be great. Alright, other than that, so first of all, the figure itself will come as like this without the backpack attached. So the backpack will be a separate piece as well. And then here are some other parts that you should be getting. So number one, you do get a few ammo pouches that can connect to the leg, which I will actually connect right away. So I think this one has to go on this side, as far as I know, onto the left side like that. And then we get this one. We get a gun holster with a gun. Now, as far as I know, the handle does not pop out, so we can also attach it to this side. Now, because of the hand, I assume that the holster, the handle should be on the back side, as for logically for a normal human being. And then for the actual gun that's in the holster, yeah, I assume this is like a smaller version of a bolt gun, slightly smaller but more compact. So yeah, I do like this, but the thing is that if you're going to use this, I assume that you have to detach this just to make it look realistic, or I don't know, maybe you could carry both at the same time, who knows. And then here we have, now I think this is the actual bolt gun. Now the design seems slightly different than the ones I've seen in the videos, but yeah. You can definitely see the mag. Now nothing really detaches from here, but it is a very nice design here. Alright, so I'm going to leave the guns there, and let's see what we got in terms of articulation. Now, once again, Joytoy, I don't think it's a very common product that everybody buys, because number one, they haven't, the whole Warhammer thing, it hasn't been that long since they started it, and I assume the price is going to be one factor, but still, but yeah, for height-wise of the figure itself, here is next to a typical 1:144 scale gunpla kit. So you can see height-wise, it is a bit shorter when you don't count the backpack antenna. It is a bit shorter than a typical 1:144 scale gunpla kit. So keep that in mind. Let's talk about articulation here. So once again, I think they did a really good job on the painting here. Now, because being Space Marines, I assume that the armor or stuff shouldn't be like all spec clean and sparkling. It should be all like battle damage or scratched and such. So I think considering that, this looks pretty good if you ask me. Now, I believe normal Space Marines should have like a different symbol on the chest. This thing has this kind of belt strap going on here, which I assume is to make it look like it's strapped onto the mech suit itself. Yeah, and the backpack does seem a little bit larger. Now I don't remember if these antennas were a very common thing for every Space Marines, but yeah. So articulation wise, the head can go down that much pretty well. Up. Now it doesn't go up as much as I thought. And I think it is connected as a ball joint. Now I haven't really tested. I don't detach every part I can when it comes to a figure, because there is the risk of breaking. And keep in mind, I still need this, this product as a full-fledged, complete version, or it should be, fine when I report to my CEO, because while this is technically my position, I still need to use this sample as when I report the brand to the CEO. He doesn't need to see the product. And 360 wise, now it does not go 360, but considering what's inside the armor, I guess that's acceptable, because now I know Space Marines are technically like modified, like human beings, or like modified humans or life forms, but still, yeah, going 360 on the head does not make sense. All right, so for the main body, I think they did a pretty good job. It can go up and down, as we see. You do get a ab crunch going on here, side to side, a little bit of wiggle, and then for some reason we can go 360 on the entire body, so that's pretty good. Now looking at the backpack here, you do have these thrusters do actually rotate. I think these things are on a certain joint. Now I can't tell what exactly the shape is, but yeah. So these two parts do rotate as well, and nothing else does pop out from the backpack, which is very good. And just to give you guys for reference, yeah, when you're going to apply this to the Warsuit, you actually do need to detach the backpack here, and this is the way how it connects. Just two pegs going on here, so that's that. All right, so now for the arms. Now what I meant by loose is that when I first got this sample, I've noticed the left shoulder armor does pop out a little bit easily, so I will apologize if it does pop out time to time. I did do a simple fix, but I'm not sure if it's going to hold in that well. But for now, the arm itself can go 360 like that. 360 twist on the arm itself is pretty well done. Going to the side, now as far as I know, or based on the joint design, it should be able to go pretty well to the side, but once again, because this being very stiff in certain areas, this is as far as I can go, and I do not want to damage the figure too much, so yeah. But look at, based on the design, yeah, you can definitely go roughly about 90 degrees to the side. And then bend wise, you do get a pretty decent bend, so more than 90 degrees is possible. And oh boy, there we go. And as you can see, you can actually pull out the arm a little bit for extra articulation, I assume. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. Although I'm not sure how that works for a real human being. And then 360 twist on the lower arm itself is also possible. So yep. And hands are your typical, well, not exactly typical, but hands are in ball jointed styles. But just to give you guys reference, that is a very, very giant ball joint. That one of the largest ball joints I have seen in a figure. So I kind of thought that was a little bit funny. But still, at first, applying the hands might be a little bit difficult at first. But once you get used to it, you get used to it. All right, so let's just take a, oops, yeah, that was what I was talking about. So the shoulder armor does pop out a little bit. I did try to apply a little bit of paint there. Hopefully it would hold it in. Maybe I might need to use just a little bit of glue. So for now, let me just take off the shoulder armor for now. And then let me just take off these small parts because they are getting in the way for me to review. Now this part, or this section here, seems to be a separate part by the way how it wiggles. And then we do get a nice side swivel going on here. I don't think there's any pulling gimmick like the arms where you can pull out the arm. And then let's see. Going to the side is less than 90 degrees is possible. Going forwards, possible as well. And then backwards, not so much because the way how the back section here is designed. It's colliding in the way. Bend wise, you do get a very nice bend going on here, although it does separate here. So to some people, this may be a little bit, you know, a bit of an odd place. But figure wise, I say it's fine. And then feet can rotate 360 because I think it is on a full-fledged ball joint here. So you do get a pretty decent pivot joint here. And then on the lower section there is these holes. So I assume there are other like vehicles you can connect this to as well. Alright, so we've seen the basics of the figure. So I think I'll be right back with a few demonstrations regarding poses. And then after we're done with checking poses, we'll now look into the Warsuit. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So here we have the first demonstration. So apparently holding the bolt gun with one hand is also possible, and if you angle up each arm or hand properly, you can do the double hand posing as well. So once again, I assume this gun should be held in with two hands. I assume because of the size, but once again, I have seen some videos or some images where these Space Marines can fire these giant bolt guns with one hand as well. So anybody who's more knowledgeable than me, do let me know how this works. Now this should be no problem as holding with one hand, but also because we do have the smaller gun, yeah, you can also hold it with no problem as well. So holding it with one hand is also possible. Now keep in mind to make sure each angle is correct with the arm and such, and you should have zero problems holding the gun as well. So I think they did a pretty good job with this figure. Now, I would actually love to see a larger scale version of the Space Marine itself, because I do like figures like these, or these type of designs. I would love to see like a figure that's roughly taller, maybe 2 times taller in terms of scale than this. And yeah, I think there are definitely people out there who definitely likes, rather than the mechs, maybe just the Space Marine suits at the first place. So maybe it could be in the future, but once again, I am actually very satisfied with this. I might actually buy more because I do know they not only the blue ones, but I do know Joytoy does make other factions for the Space Marine. So I have seen like the red ones and the yellow ones and the black ones as well. So I might actually try those out in the future. Anyway, this was basically part 1 of the review. So on part 1, we looked at the Space Marine figure itself. On part 2, we will look at the Invictor Tactical Warsuit itself. Now, I will be applying the figure onto the, I will be applying the Space Marine to the suit as well. So I'll see you then.